Now, onto the examination. First of all, as before, you need to refer to the ISCE Self-Directed Learning Pack. Now, if you have a look at the criteria, it says that a satisfactory exam should be structured, should be efficient, and it should be proficient. Also, it outlines that an unsatisfactory examination would be due to the fact that there would be a lack of focus and also a lack of technique. There isn't one best way in which to structure an examination. There may be more than one method, and it's not necessary that one method will be better than the other. So you need to figure out what works best for you. And also you need to make sure that you're not mixing and matching. So just to give an example of that, if you take the neurological examination, some people may prefer to start completely with the upper limb. So doing the tone, doing the strength and the sensation and all the other things that go along with it, and then moving on to the lower limbs and testing all the different aspects of that, the tone, the strengths and everything. Other people may find it easier to actually take the body as a whole, or take the person as a whole, start with tone, assess everything to do with tone in the body, so in the upper limbs and the lower limbs. Then move on to strength, so test strength in the upper limbs and the lower limbs. Similar with all the other aspects of the examination. It doesn't really matter which one you do. Pick one that you know that you'll be comfortable with on the day and stick to that. And don't mix and match, because if you mix and match, then it's going to look confused and the examiner will take it that you don't really know what you're doing. Move on to the topic of missing an aspect of the examination. One of the students that I spoke to brought this up and mentioned the fact that on occasion what happens is that you miss out a bit of the examination, and as a result sometimes if you're not prepared for it, you can just become a little bit flummoxed and start to think on the spot as to what to do next, and the end result is that it doesn't really look professional and you lose your confidence for the rest of the station. So let's just take a look at this first role play and just observe what happens, what goes well, what doesn't go well, and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
Okay, so Mr. Pumpkin, I'd just like to perform the examination now. So if you could sit on the bench for me, please, and lie down, if you could. Just going to wash my hands. I'm just going to start off by looking at your hands and your nails, if that's okay. Sure. Excellent. Just go listen to the base of your lungs. Get some deep breath in and out for me. Just going to check for some swelling. Okay. And same again.
So how did that seem to you? I mean, let's start with the positives first of all. He washed his hands, and these are easy marks, and you're already throwing away marks if you don't wash your hands. You really need to drum it into your heads before you actually go into the station. So wash your hands. It's also a good time to actually gather your thoughts. While you're actually taking a moment out, you can actually start to organise your thoughts on what you're going to do next. So on to the negatives, or the big negative. The first thing to do is to actually try and prevent this from actually happening. So you need to practice. Just as you practice the history, as I mentioned before, practice the examination. And just practice until it's slick so this doesn't happen to you. However, it's not unrealistic for the previous scenario to actually occur, even though it may seem unrealistic just watching it like that. You have to realise that on the day the emotions are running high, the adrenaline is pumping, and you don't really know how you're coming across to the examiner. So if you look at that, not only did it seem strange in terms of its order, and not only was it just generally awkward, but in the middle of all the nervousness, when going back to check for the bruise, he forgot to instruct the patient to stop breathing so that he could listen to it. So that it's actually impacting on the technique. Take a look at this next clip.
Just listen to the base of your lungs. Take some deep breaths in and out for me, please. Just inject some swelling. Fantastic. Inject some swelling here as well. Feeling pulse as well. Good. Okay, Ms. Bogdan, I forgot to listen to your neck. Would it be okay if we just go back and have a quick listen? Sure. Okay. So take a deep breath in and hold it for me. And out. And say it again for me, please. And out. Thank you.
Do you see the difference there? This time he explained to the patient that he missed something out, and he came back to it. He retained his confidence. And don't worry, the examiners in general are not looking to fail you. And as one of the examiner mentioned to me, they're not looking for you to get lost in the minor details. Forget the minor details if they're not relevant. Be natural, do what you would normally do in real life, and just look confident and make sure that you have an order that you stick to. And above all, practice, practice, and practice again. So just to summarize this next section on the examination, first of all, choose a system and stick by it. Don't get flummoxed when you miss something, come back to it and clearly state your intention to do so. Be natural and practice.